Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
And we're back.
We're having a discussion about a hat discussion, fedora hats.
And Sam has boxes and boxes of cool hats, by the way.
That's right. And unfortunately, can't see us, but we're all in fedora hats
Well,
today.
if you want to see us, you can go to Facebook and look at Chris
you already posted that
Kelso's
picture,
page.
Chris?
Yeah,
Yes,
he's
that
already
is
posted
correct.
a
It's already been posted out there.
Awesome.
If you're sick, twisted, or bored, we're on Facebook. Don't scream.
If you're driving, don't go to Facebook.
Yeah, if you're driving,
Please don't Facebook and drive.
Just trust us on this one.
Yeah. So one of my favorite people from Intero Real Estate is Randall Martin. He's here today for the second time. And he actually came on the first time talking about a legacy project for a group that he was involved in, which was the TRLP group, which
Correct.
is the Texas Real Estate Leadership Program. And welcome back to the show, Randall. We're glad to have you on, and we're going to have you on as a guest this time rather than just giving a service announcement.
Fantastic.
how the heck are you?
How the heck are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm trying to learn how to pull a rabbit out of these hats now. So that's the trick today. I thought that's what the show was about.
And
But
for my next trick,
Well, I don't know how Randall's going to follow up 2014. He opened up a new office down in Pearland.
Correct.
And he got married.
Yes.
And they took a great trip. And now he's starting off like, well, how am I going to top that? And he married a beautiful woman.
Well,
Vanessa.
topping off your wedding day is probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
But the great thing is he gets to live with her for the rest of his life, and that's going to be a joy in
I'm
itself.
feeling sorry for her, but I'm happy for him.
oh, man.
Just saying. But Randall brings a different perspective. He is part of that younger generation. He's the up-and-coming young Turk. And tell me what you're seeing out there in the marketplace, not in just Pearland, but what you see in the future.
And more importantly, what you feel about being called a Turk.
Yeah, young Turk. Young Turk.
I was like, what did he say?
Turkish, please, Turkish embassy, please don't call me.
So,
It's just an expression.
you can call me young all you want, but you make me look young when I sit next to you, Rob. So
I'm
Oh, dang.
seasoned.
season. No, I am from that generation. I'm the opposite. I got in the business and got licensed right when things took a dive, so I didn't know any
Good
better.
timing.
Yeah, I didn't know any different. So coming in right in 2007, 8, and going through that, and then seeing this upswing. But I've always, we were talking before the show about how we're raised. I was pretty much raised with a computer. I said earlier that I was raised with a joystick in my hand. My grandmother teaching me DOS, teaching all these things. So computers, technology is pretty second nature to me. And I don't have a degree in that field. I just grew up hands-on with that. So I tend to do my business and work and live the same way. I'm always paying attention to what's coming down next and watching the big moves and what technology do we need to be implementing so that we're not 6 months to a year behind everybody else.
What part of your business you think is like you can attribute to using technology?
Oh, goodness.
I told you I wasn't going to ask any hard
46.2.
questions.
Yeah.
46.2%.
Yeah, there you go. It was more like 73.89.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Repeating.
But imagine that. Because you grew up, as you mentioned right there, with a joystick and computer. Imagine today's generation, today's 5 and 8 and 10-year-olds, where they're going to be when they're of our age out there in the real. It's amazing how technology has really propelled events. Now everyone says go out there and Google it. One of the things that we've talked about this off the air a lot of times, Randall, is the availability to information is more than we've ever had in the history of our lifetime. Instant information, and so that's changed the way people do real estate.
Absolutely. 2015 is going to be a wild year. The consumer already is expecting those immediate results. Look at some of the news headlines we're seeing where Uber is trying to integrate with Trulia to be able to get people instantly, hey, if you're sitting somewhere and you don't have a ride, you can call an Uber cab and go visit a house potentially. There's big moves that are coming up this year,
Right.
whether they pass, whether they're allowed. The fact is these companies are talking about it. Change is coming, integration's coming.
Take the Uber concept and apply it to real estate. What if somebody could go on and they want to see a house, and a real estate agent who may belong to a network, they have 10 seconds to respond, or they go to the next agent, because that's how Uber works.
Right.
The driver has 10 seconds to respond, otherwise it goes on to the next driver. If you want to go see a house and you're part of a network, You call up. If you're not available in 10 seconds, move on. That's how instantaneous they want it now. Because when we first started doing email leads and things like that back in the 90s,
Right.
expectation from consumers, 48 hours. No, I expect a response within 48 hours. Now, what do you think it is now, Randall?
It's really 48 minutes.
Yeah. You think it's 48 minutes?
No,
I think
4
it's
to 8
Oh,
minutes.
4 to 8 minutes. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds like a long
48
time.
was the exact number.
I tell you,
I've studied a lot of information on this. It's exactly 48 minutes.
48.73 repeating minutes. Now.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to get that specific, but you know.
So you have a real different consumer. And you know what? Even it has bled over to my generation because I have expectations now of having things pretty instantaneous as well because we kind of rethought things. We're not as patient. If you get a long email right now that's probably 2 pages long, how far in that email do you get before you said, I'm not reading this?
No, you start and come back to it later.
Yeah, well, maybe. and you
If it
never
was
get back to it, right?
If it was important.
So it's one of those things we want everything instantaneously.
And bullet pointed.
And bullet points work.
I mean, the other thing, too, is, and this isn't anything new, but everybody's living with this. They're ditching their computers a lot of times.
This.
For all
is
those
a
cell
cell-
listeners out
By
there,
the
this
way,
is a cell phone.
This is a pretty scratched up iPhone 5. But
Can we invoice Apple then?
Yes.
I think so.
Shoot an invoice out to Apple.
But people,
Cash
they're
register
living
sound.
in. We're living in a mobile world, and if you haven't adapted to that by now, for one, I don't know if you're still in business, but I don't know how you can grow if you don't adapt to the consumer's needs in that sense.
Well, on our, I'm following where every lead comes from in our company. I'm the marketing director for the company, and what I have seen for the first time this year, our mobile traffic and our web traffic, our leads that are coming from our web page versus the leads that are coming from our web page on the mobile we track are almost dead even now. So whereas where our predominance of it used to be like 80% of our traffic, 80% of our leads on our website just came from a computer, people browsing. It's about to be surpassed for us. And I fully expect that when we're about to launch a new webpage, when we launch our mobile-ready page, it's going to be a lot more geared to the mobile. It'll actually.
Well, and
pass
a lot
it
of
up.
that's because individuals when they're out there and out. I mean, I get it all the time. They're calling me in front of a house.
Yeah.
By the way, I got your name in front of this house for a rider I saw or whatever. I mean, it's that type of instant information.
Yep.
I mean, and it's to the point, even if you don't answer the phone right then and there, then they'll call somebody else right then and there.
I don't know, like from you guys on the realtor side, if this is something y'all are thinking about, but I know Google is really going to start heavily penalizing pages that aren't mobile adaptive or mobile ready pages. The pages that automatically scale if you change the size and all that, the size of them and all that sort of thing, so that they're geared to the mobile phone, and that where you have the contact information, telephone numbers, email, all is mobile accessible. So that you just push it and it automatically does that action. If you don't, Google is going to start in 2015 heavily penalizing the rating of the page.
Send an invoice to Google too.
Yes,
Okay.
Absolutely.
I think we have a caller.
We do have a caller right now. We actually have Dwayne who is calling us right now. Dwayne, how you doing?
I'm all right, and yourself?
Doing very well, thank you. Appreciate you calling on the show today.
All right, thanks for taking calls.
No problem. You have a question for us?
Yeah, I did. I have more of a finance background and a little bit of accountancy under my belt, and particularly I want to transition into accountancy in the real estate industry. My question was, do most real estate offices and firms outsource their bookkeeping, or do they actually have a little bit to cover for direct hire bookkeeping?
Good question. We have two individuals here that can probably answer that. Sam, I know you weren't able to hear this, so I'll repeat this to you in a second. But Randall, I know you were able to. Why don't you start off with yourself as far as the question is
we have a gentleman who wants
Yes.
to. He's in accounting and he wants to transition to accounting specifically in the real estate industry. And he wants to know if the typical real estate firm or brokerage has outsourced that, or they have in the budget for internally doing it.
I can speak for us. We are doing it internally. We're able to manage it all within our own office system. So I mean, it's not something that we are necessarily outsourcing.
Yep. How about you, Sam? As far as what's going on over there?
Well, it's interesting you ask that because we have just added a new facility behind our 8,000 square foot building that is called toprealtyuniversity.com. And within the next 30 days, it will be open and operational. We have a complete training facility for everyone from beginner agents who are just getting their licenses all the way up to some of the most experienced agents in the industry, like myself or some of our other large extreme producing teams. So we are just about to launch that, and it is going to be a dynamic addition to the real estate industry, probably a game changer.
I can imagine, and that right there also, allow individuals such as Dwayne, who's looking at getting in there, understanding maybe a little bit more about how to work with those teams, how to work, because I would imagine, Dwayne, every company is a bit different. Some companies who are large enough end up doing it. Technology also has a lot to do with it. There's a lot of systems that now integrate a lot of their accounting and management side on the back side of things. And you have other ones who operate, on a day-to-day basis who want to have somebody internally. So
Yeah, my favorite answer is it depends.
It depends.
It
That is correct. It always depends out there, Dwayne.
All right, not a problem. I appreciate your time, guys.
Likewise, bud. Appreciate you calling in.
Well, as always, we are happy to answer questions. 800-808-5548. If you have a question about real estate, there's a great set of folks here today.
You got a
that'll be able
good
to answer
brain
those
trust
calls.
here in the room today.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So, and of course, we were talking about technology and how it's, not improved. I mean, it's here. You grew up with it, and it changes, daily. I mean, the information is doubling every, 2 years now? Now it's probably going to double every 1 year.
The consumer's looking to be impressed, and I think that's what 2015 is going to bring to the table. Their information's there; they can access it themselves, but they still want that wow factor. And so the challenge I believe in the real estate industry is being able to not try to hold something back from the consumer, but be able to take what we have, integrate, and provide an experience to where they're leaving literally jumping up and down, saying, "Wow, I'm so glad I didn't do this on my own."
Well, I always say one thing and say, you know what? You can get the information, you can't get the experience. And
right.
we the one thing about this show, and really with a common thread, is hire a professional. Always hire
I
a
would
professional.
totally agree.
And we do that talk about that every week.
And to follow up what Randall was saying right here also, I agree. I think technology is great. I think it's incredible to get it out there. However, technology without the human touch in the real estate profession means nothing, though, because there's a lot of other, that's what I always reiterate to everybody, there's a lot of other aspects in regards to looking at the home, looking at what you're seeing in the home, not just the aesthetics, but know what to look for, the negotiation of the contract, finding the correct partners, such as mortgage and credit, et cetera, et cetera. All those aspects are the human element to it, so it's important to find, and that's what we have in this room today, individuals who can represent the human element that is going in conjunction with the technological aspect of things. So we're going to continue that line of reasoning and, more importantly, speak. But guess what? We're coming up against the break right now.
Got to pay for the show.
Got to pay for it. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
An old immovable object like me.